Converse-ations.
Why are you taking my intro?
Because the video's my topic.
Yeah, I mean, you can't claim that you own Irish dance.
No, but of the two of us, I have a far grander claim to fame here.
Okay, fine.
Claim to fame.
I've been to Raglan Road. What are we talking about? We're talking
about Irish dance!
Oh.
Only the best part of St. Patrick's Day, and the reason that St. Patrick's Day was my entire life in high school.
Not the Shamrock Shake?
No, I'm allergic to that.
Well,
you jerk.
Sucks to suck, doesn't it?
So Irish dance has been around for a very long time.
2 years.
And it is danced socially, it is danced for performance, and it is danced competitively. This gets serious, guys. So while Irish dance had been around for a very long time, it wasn't something that people outside of Ireland were particularly familiar with. In the same way that every culture and country has their own native forms of dance and music, Irish dance was kind of, Ireland's best kept secret kind of deal. Until 1994. So in Europe, there is a thing called the Eurovision Song Contest. Each country puts forth a musical act, and they all compete, and one is crowned the winner. The next year, the country who won hosts and doesn't compete in the tournament. So the same country can't win back to back to back. This is important. So Ireland was the host of the Eurovision Song Contest in 1994. Now, while the host country does not compete, they do put forth a musical number during the judging.
It's kind of like the Olympics.
Yeah, they put forth, but people who host the Olympics are also competing.
Oh, yeah. But I'm talking about like the opening ceremony type thing, so they still get a moment to go, this is our country.
Rather than an opening ceremony, they're a part of the closing. What they do is, while the judges are deliberating, they put on a musical number to give the judges a chance to discuss and pick the winner. So it's about so the piece that Ireland put forward was about 7 minutes, and the piece they put forward was called Riverdance. And it was supposed to be a lot about, it rooted in Celtic culture, talking about the importance of water to the Celtic society, which is what all of the water imagery in the beginning is. So it starts with a singing group, and then opens with one solo female Irish dancer. A male Irish dancer comes in, has a back and forth between the drums and his footwork, and then the whole group comes in and joins in together. So Riverdance was put forward in 1994, and the world collectively lost their minds. They went, where has this been my entire life? I want more of this. And the creative team went, we need to jump on this, and we need to jump on this right now. And they put together Riverdance, the touring version, which premiered in 1995. It toured everywhere. It toured everywhere. It started in Ireland and the UK, and then it did Broadway. Like, it ran all over the place. It's been doing international tours for decades, literally decades. We watched it when it came through on the 20th anniversary tour. It's coming back around on the 25th anniversary tour. This show's going to tour until the end of time. I started dancing shortly before the 10th anniversary. I started dancing in about 2002, and then 2004, 2005 was credited as the 10th anniversary of Riverdance. So that's when I got involved in Irish dance. I started with, the school then was called Rinca Tír na nÓg. It's gone through several name changes, but the original name, Rinca Tír na nÓg, means Dancers of Tír na nÓg. Tír na nÓg is the land in Irish mythology where no one grows old. It's the idea that dancing keeps you young, is the plot behind all of that. So I started with Irish dance because it's what my mom signed me up for as basically my gym credit while homeschooling, and I wasn't interested, and then I got involved, and I was like, oh, actually, I'm good at this. This is something that suits my natural talents. And I took off and never looked back. I was a competitive dancer for about 7 years altogether. And the first year that I would have been ready to do qualifications for World Championships, I was in my first semester at college, and World Championship qualifiers and finals week were the same dates. And I had to pick, and I picked my college finals. Of course, you will always have that what if question, but I think in the long run, the college finals were probably the way to go. Let's be real. I don't think, because I don't know that I would have qualified. So I think I was better off doing the finals
thing.
Yes, but Irish dance was my entire life in middle school and high school. Especially at the peak of my performing and competing, I was getting up before I had to get up I was getting up an extra hour early in the morning to do drills in my room. I was going to class 4 to 5 days a week. On the weekends, once a month, I was taking a 4-hour train ride to go train with another teacher that was a part of our school. It really was everything I did. I didn't have all of my friends were the people I danced with. I didn't really spend time with people who weren't in my dance group.
I think that's an entertainment thing. When you're doing either dance or dance competitions, Irish dance or theater or music, band, like you start to those are the people that you see all the time. Those are the people that you only have time for.
With the difference being theater, you do a show and it has clear close points.
Well, it depends.
It
depends on where you're doing, because if you're doing stuff in high school, you have competitions, you have the shows, they open, they close, you go on to the next show.
But you also had summers off.
Generally, yes, unless you were, as we did, because our theater program was not well funded. Other theater, or at Clearwater High School, for example, when they did stuff over the summer.
Oh, okay.
Ours was because that's the time. That's also a time when they can start prepping stuff for state competitions and judging and all of that kind of stuff. So
and this was it was a sort of a paying gig for me at one point too. When I was in high school and was doing pub opening ceremonies, we did those a lot, and private events. If it was a smaller gig, my teacher would split the money with all of us and we'd get €20 out of it. So that was super exciting as a kid. And then when I was dancing in the US, I started moving. I had already been kind of doing a little bit of teaching, assistant teaching, while in high school, but I started really doing that in college. And I wasn't paid, but I sometimes got gas money and didn't have to pay for my own classes. So
balanced it out.
It wasn't. For a long time, my parents were pouring a lot of money into it. It did eventually get to a point where it was at least a self-sustaining hobby.
Yeah.
It kept me in fantastic shape all the way through. I sprained my ankles 4 times. Only one of those was in dance class, though. So, yes. The other ones were in high school, in chemistry class, on a trampoline on my birthday, and in my room the first half day of Christmas break. So, really only one of those can be argued was a true dance injury, although it was the most severe. It gave me a lot of purpose and drive while in high school, and it was the first time, especially when I was starting to really figure out what I wanted to do. I also learned a lot of event management from this. We had our dance competitions as well as performances, and my teacher always all right, who's going to step up and help, who's going to step up and volunteer, and as soon as you find out that someone's good at it, you're going to have them do it more. And I did a lot of dance competitions. I was in charge of the little ones, and can I get them all in numerical order, and can I keep them all quiet before they go up on stage, and sending them out and bringing them back. As well as during performances, I was the one who remembered the choreo. I was always if the teacher was wait, what did we do last week? I was the one that she would ask what the choreo had been. So if I didn't like it, I might have tweaked 1 or 2 numbers. Not to put myself in the front or anything, but just to be this thing didn't make any sense. I smoothed it out. I think she realized by the end that I was doing that, but also that I was capable of doing it, and everybody accepted it and rolled on with it. I competed in Scotland. I competed in Ireland. I took 6th place when I competed in Ireland, so not too shabby.
Now, my experience with Irish dance is none. we saw, Katie said, we saw River dance together, and then she proceeded to dance and sing and tap the entire thing with her hands. Raglan Road is one of my favorite restaurants ever, so anytime I have money and get the chance to go there, because they have Irish dancers, they have a band, they have great food, the restaurant's amazing, I love it.
A friend of mine was a performer at Raglan Road for quite a while, yes.
There are 2 shows that I can think of off the top of my head that came out around the same time, within a couple years of each other. One of them is Pirate Queen, which you knew about because a lot of the Riverdance team was doing Pirate Queen. Pirate Queen is an amazing musical about Grace O'Malley. Go back a couple videos 2 weeks ago to the women,
strong female
characters. Grace O'Malley. Love her to death. Love her to death. She was erased from Irish history, but she's still in all of the English documents, which is weird because she was an English, and it's weird. Yeah. It's a whole big backstory, but anyway, that was my first, I think, actual experience with Irish dance. I never saw the show live, but I knew about the show when it was coming out and everything, so I got to see a lot of that. But then you have stuff like Legally Blonde. or they're like, we're gonna do an Irish dance segment in the middle of the second act, but it's not actually Irish dance, and it almost comes across, there's a borderline, like, it comes across as comedic because, like, everyone's doing the same dance moves, but then it also comes across as almost insensitive culturally.
Yeah, so because Riverdance really hit its peak in the late 90s, early 2000s, everyone was aware of it, and you see a lot of pop culture jokes from things that came out around that time.
Lion King, 1.5.
Shrek has a Riverdance joke.
Does it?
Yeah. They find Robin Hood's merry band in the Irish dance.
Yes.
It's in Emperor's New Groove.
It's also a little play on Mel Brooks on Men in Tights.
Well, yeah, but no, Emperor's New Groove. In the opening number,
Lion King 1.5.
I know there's a Friends joke where I think it's Chandler who's like, but what is he doing with his arms, and his legs look like they're disconnected from the rest of his body. I don't remember the exact phrasing, but there's he goes off. It was something he was scared of, and it was like the fact that Michael Flatley's legs don't look like they're connected to the rest of his body. Riverdance spawned...
But Michael Flatley's crazy.
Riverdance spawned Lord of the Dance, and then you got a whole bunch of other Irish dance spin-offs, but Riverdance is the one that's still touring, and will be touring until the end of time, I'm quite sure.
Yep.
If you want to know more about the competitive side, I highly recommend the documentary Jig. It follows several dancers from different countries on their way to the World Championships. Really gives you an idea of the training process and the way the schools work and the way the competitions work. There is a dancer that is featured in that documentary that I used to compete against, and I used to beat. So I actually, like, legitimately know people who were in this documentary. One of my teachers is in it. Not in very much of it, but one of my teachers is in it. So, like, and sometimes you see a documentary and somebody's like, did you see this documentary? And you're like, they didn't get my world right. And it's really frustrating. Now, this one's like, this one's spot on. This is exactly what this world looks like. So, last time I saw it, it was on Netflix. If it's not on Netflix, I'm sure it's on Amazon or Hulu or somewhere. It'll be available somewhere. But, yeah, watch Jig. It's both a good documentary as well as a good look at the topic it's talking about.
Yeah.
St. Patrick's Day was my entire life, was like a huge focal point of the year for me in high school. The problem was it fell at the same time as Terra Nova testing.
Which is?
Standardized testing.
Oh, okay.
You got Terra Nova, and then you moved from Terra Nova to practice SATs.
Oh, okay.
And which fell at about the same time of year.
Yeah.
So it was always in the middle of standardized testing, and getting out of school was a royal pain. And it was when I had to be out of school the most.
Isn't that great? Mm-hmm. Standardized testing.
Yep. I've danced in all kinds of bizarre places. I've danced outside a grocery store. My wig was falling off. I've sewn people into dresses while throwing them on stage. One time they announced my name in the first place spot in a competition, and I gasped and went, so, like, sharply, it popped my jaw, and my friends thought I was throwing up. Genuinely, they thought I was so excited I threw up, and I didn't. I just popped my jaw.
To wrap things up, because this is the most important thing about this conversation piece.
Yes.
Every dancer needs a food item in order to feel like they are successful and prepared for their dance competition. What was your food item?
Croissants.
Why?
I had to have a good luck croissant. It started by accident in that a lot of times we would stay at a hotel that had like a really basic breakfast, and croissants were something you could really consistently get across Europe. And then it started just kind of like, it started taking on a life of its own, and it started being this like, I didn't do well if I didn't get a croissant. We had one competition where we couldn't find a croissant at breakfast, and like 3 hours into the competition, my mom managed to track down a strawberry-filled croissant that was pre-packaged that she bought somewhere else. I ate it, and 2 seconds later got called up for a placement, and I was like, and then that was the turning point. That's when we knew it was the croissant. So we got to a point where we bought the Pillsbury, like pre-packaged, baked them, and packed them in a Tupperware container because it couldn't compete without my damn croissants. Another friend of mine, her thing was bananas, and her mom searched all over Frankfurt to get her a banana. They found a banana, and she was one of the first dancers to qualify for the World Championships coming from mainland Europe. And then when they went to the World Championships, she was the first one to bring a medal home to mainland Europe.
Wow.
So like,
that's cool.
Bananas.
Bananas and croissants.
Ooh, I'm pretty sure it's a scam. Hello?